Welcome back. This is AUB's Innovation Park on Virgin Radio. My name is Arthur. I'm the co-founder and the CEO of Lemonade Fashion and the entrepreneur in residence of AUB's Innovation Park and your show on AUB's Innovation Park show on Virgin Radio. Did I say your show or your host, Lara? What did I say?
You said Innovation Park show on Virgin Radio Lebanon
Oh, yeah.
show. Which is a bunch
So it was a lot of show. But again, it's important because it's AUB and everything we do is important. I'm kidding. But the reason why it's important, it's because we want to help you turn into successful businesses and successful startups. At AUB, we believe that everyone has what it takes to succeed, but you need the right guidance, you need the right mentorship, and you need the right support. My aim is to actually introduce you to a lot of the successful entrepreneurs, investors, and people that have done this along the way, and they can guide you. Today, we have Adnan, who is actually with BYBP, so it's BY Venture Partners. They're one of the biggest venture capital firms, so it's one of the biggest investment companies, not just in the country, but on a global level. So it's very exciting to have Adnan with us in the studio. We're going to cover the basics of investment and how to get your startup running, what are the mistakes that they have seen as investors startups make, and some of the cool success stories that they've been a part of. So make sure to download the Virgin Radio app so you can listen to this entire show because it's going to be very important. It's brought to you by the Talal and Madiha Zein AUB Innovation Park, and we're going to be back after these songs. This is AUB's Innovation Park on Virgin Radio. My name is Arthur. I have with me Adnan, who is from BY Venture Partners. So Adnan, welcome to the show. Welcome to the studio.
Thank you, Arthur. It's a pleasure to be here.
Well, thank you for coming. So Adnan, what exactly do you do with BYVP?
So I'm part of the investment team at BY. As part of the investment team, my main responsibilities include supporting our existing portfolio of startups, really with some day-to-day operations. We offer operational support. We connect them to some advisors in our network. We help them with fundraising. Another big part, I would say, is really assessing new potential deals or investment opportunities for our fund. So that takes up the majority of my time.
That's so cool. So you basically tell the fund what type of companies to invest in, what are the different, industries that are very hot today, and then you facilitate that. So if I'm a startup and I want to raise money, I just call you. I'm like, Adnan, I'll give you a piece of the action under the table, make sure we get the investment, or are you guys very legit?
Yeah, so you can say there's actually, so this is the gist of it, but in the background, there's like a very formal investment process that goes on.
Yeah, you guys have an investment committee and so on, right?
Exactly.
But I think I've known the founders of BYVP for a very long time. So I think Zein Abdullah Yafi are some of the best investors in the world because they were actually entrepreneurs before becoming investors. So they were both on the entrepreneurship side. So they've been through the journey themselves. And then when they created the fund, they created a fund that was all about the entrepreneurs. So they were like, you know what, when we invest in these companies, we want to make sure that they have the resources to succeed. We're going to support them rather than drag them down because sometimes, investors put a bit too much pressure, like it can be toxic. But when you're in bed with the right investors, then it's a good marriage, right? And it takes two to tango. It gets two to make a successful marriage. And I think BYBP is one of the companies that does that really, really, really well. I think I talked a lot in this segment, so I'm going to let you, talk a lot more after these songs. This is AUB's Innovation Park on Virgin Radio. Adnan, thank you for being here from BY Ventures. So you guys have a very soft spot in my heart because I've known, Zein and Abdullah for such a long time, and you're doing an amazing job investing in the right companies. And you're a global fund. Can you tell us a bit more about, what BYBP does overall and what type of companies you support?
For sure. So at BY, we are a global early stage venture capital firm.
So when you say early stage?
Early stage, so we focus on seed.
So it's mostly startups that just got started.
Just got started.
They launched the first version of their product.
Exactly.
They have some early clients.
Early forms of traction. And this is basically our sweet spot. So we are a global fund, but we are rooted in MENA. We invest in early stage. Sweet spot is seed. We do some pre-seed, some Series A. And we invest across geographies and across sectors. So we do consumer, we do B2B, across sectors, so sectors like B2B SaaS, health tech, food tech, fintech, ed tech, really any tech you can name. And we're generalist investors, so we're sector agnostic.
So you invest in anything that you think is exciting, and you mostly invest in the founders, right? So if you think it's the right team of people to execute, then you don't really care what industry they are in as much as if, we're gonna bet on these founders, they have what it takes, to make it happen. And then what's your favorite song?
My favorite song, really anything by Drake. I know there's like this big beef between Drake and Kendrick right now. So anything by Drake.
All right, so let's listen to Drake and then Kendrick and then vote on who we like better. Adnan, we were discussing a bit about BYBP and how you guys are investing in the right founders. What are some of the attributes that these founders have? What do you look for in entrepreneurs?
A very good question. So we place a very high importance in our investment decision on the founding team. And some of the qualities that we look for include clarity of vision of the founder. So can the founder properly communicate basically what he is building and why? And this will help him not only approach investors and fundraise, but also hire a team and sell to clients.
And the why is important because then you know that they're committed. Like if I don't have an emotional reason tying me to the idea, it means anytime something hard happens, I might give up.
Exactly.
But if I'm emotionally vested, right, like if I have a very deep desire to turn this into a reality, I will accept anything that life throws at me, right? It's like burning the bridges concept.
100%. And that actually brings me to my next quality, which is determination. So unfortunately, it's just part of the startup journey. You will inevitably come across hiccups and challenges and difficulties. And so it really takes a very, very determined founder to make things work when things become difficult.
Yeah, because you're going to fail your way to success. Every day is a small failure, but every day you're one step closer to succeeding.
Definitely.
It's like the Thomas Edison thing, right? 10,000 ways not to light a light bulb, but it was just a journey to being able to do that.
I agree with you.
And what else do you look for?
We look for intelligence, of course, is key. I think that's a given. We look for the ability to get things done fast, so efficiency, because you just have so many things to do on a daily basis. You can't afford to really waste any time.
You know what we should listen to, Lara? The theme song for Fast and Furious. Because that is entrepreneurship, Fast and Furious.
Tokyo Drift?
I don't know, just surprise me. So Adnan, what are some of the mistakes you've seen entrepreneurs make? We talked about the traits that you look for, but what are the mistakes?
So some of the mistakes I would say, so the worst thing you can do as a founder is sit in your office, not speak to your customers, start developing your product from beginning to end, and then...
So what do you do? Do you sit at the bar, talk to your customers and develop end to beginning?
If you can find your customers in a bar, then by all means, go ahead and do that. Yeah, so if you do not speak to your customers throughout your product development journey, what usually ends up happening is you end up building a product that you think is solving a problem, and then when you actually launch it to market, you find out that it's not actually the case. So I would say it's very key to be very close to your customers and really try to listen and learn from them as much as possible, and really discover who they are and get a proper understanding of what the real problems and pain points are.
Yeah, I totally agree. I don't think you can sit in an office and build a successful company. You need to be there with the audience. You need to be where your customers are, where your investors are, where your partners are.
Definitely.
And that's also one of the reasons why with AUB, what we always tell our startups is that Lebanon is not really your right market. It's a good place to build, but you need exposure. You need to see, the problem in different cultures and different countries. You need to go there, talk to them, talk to the people there on ground, because Lebanon is a small market. It's great to develop here, right? So build local, but build for global. But to do that, you also need to have a presence, and that's why we're putting such an effort this year to build relationships outside so that we can send our companies across the world so that they have access to resources like in San Francisco, in Cyprus, in Dubai, and in different places. Lara, what are we listening to now? What about Rihanna? Let's do Rihanna.
Okay.
Welcome back to AB's Innovation Park with Virgin Radio. We have Adnan with us from BY Venture Partners. You guys are now raising your new fund. So when do you expect to close it? When do you expect to start investing in the companies that you guys like?
It's a really exciting time for us. because as you said, we are in the middle of raising our third fund. So today we have $100 million in assets under management split across two funds. And we're in the market to raise our third fund, and we're targeting $100 million this time.
So you're doubling.
We're doubling. We're
That's
doubling.
amazing.
Yeah. And we're targeting hopefully a first close in June, which is coming right up. And usually the way a VC fund raises money is across several closings. So you have your first closing, you then call some of this capital from your investors, you start investing it in startups, and in parallel, you continue raising the remainder of your fund.
That's amazing. So people should actually start building their relationship with you from now, right? Because it usually takes, 6 months to raise investment until you build a certain trust with the investors. So how do people reach out to you?
That's a very good question. I would say try to network your way in. So find someone who knows us and who can actually refer you and speak about you in that referral and why he's referring you to us. And the reason I mentioned that is because we are very big on introductions, exactly.
Because that builds trust.
That builds trust. It's it's like a first filter. And
so guys, I know the BYVP team very well, so for $100, I'll send an introduction. I'm kidding, we don't take bribes on this show. Well, talk to me on Instagram, we'll figure it out. All right, so we're gonna be back. Well, what are we gonna listen to now?
We can do Rihanna.
Thank you. We had such a cool show today. I have Adnan with me from BY Venture Partners. It's one of the biggest global funds for startups. They've invested more than $100 million so far. Their new fund is another $100 million that they're going to be investing in startups over the next 3 years, right? It's usually a 3-year cycle.
Usually the investment period is 3 to 5 year period. The full fund life cycle is 10 years.
10 years.
It's about 10 years. So you first...
So 3-5 years you invest, and then another 5 years you help these startups grow as much as possible so that they can start exiting. They make a lot of money, you make a lot of money. Everyone makes a lot of money.
Everyone's
so
happy, exactly.
That's why they should reach out to you.
Exactly.
But do you have any final word of advice for people listening before we end the show?
I would say really my biggest piece of advice for founders, and it's a point that we touched on earlier, is really speak to your customers, be close to them as much as possible. Learn from them, understand their pain points, and then when you go out to actually develop and build your product, do so in an iterative approach whereby you run as many experiments as possible to sort of get these validation
don't build
points.
The full product.
Exactly,
right?
exactly.
Build it progressively. Build something, test it, validate, rethink it, test it again, and then when that works, start adding, right? But with every step that you take, make sure that it's validated along the way.
100%. Listen to Arthur.
I love that. Not the listen to the Arthur part, which I do love. I mean,
guys, yeah.
I love the advice, right? And it's, again, success leaves clues. So if you look at all the successful companies, they've all done that. Adnan, thank you so much for being here. This was such a pleasure. And I'll see you guys after these songs. We had another amazing show today with AUB's Innovation Park on Virgin Radio. My guest today was Adnan from BY Venture Partners, one of the biggest funds out there. The reason why we're doing the show is because we want to introduce you to the ecosystem, the people that are going to support you in your journey to becoming a successful entrepreneur. And that is AUB's mission right now. So with iPark, what we're trying to do is we're trying to give you the resources, whether it's mentorship, whether it's workshops, or even just access to the right network and to the right investors. So if you have an idea, we don't just want to help you come up with the development plan. We don't want to help you make it better, but we also want to introduce you to the people that are going to take you to that next level. So go to our website, it's aub.edu.lb/iPark, or just Google, AUB and Innovation Park. You'll find all of the details of our program. We have so many events coming up. Right now, we actually are sending startups across the world. We have partnerships in San Francisco. Some of our companies raised money from investors in San Francisco. We now have a campus in Cyprus where we invested in our own startups and sent them to Cyprus as well. There's so much happening. So go to our website, check out all of the details, and most importantly, actually come to our events. Because when you come to the events, that's where you start networking with us and with our community. That's where you get to meet investors like Adnan. You meet them once, twice, 3 times, and then when you're ready to create a company, when you're ready to raise funds, they actually know you, which becomes so much easier. So you need to network your way to success. AUB will actually give you that opportunity, but you have to put in the work. Go to our website, go to our Instagram. All of the details are there. My name's Arthur. I'm the co-founder and the CEO of Lemonade Fashion and the entrepreneur in residence of AUB's Innovation Park. I will be personally working with you as well when you decide to create your own startup. And I can't wait to see you on the show next week with our amazing guest. This show is brought to you by the Talal and Madiha Zein AUB Innovation Park. Have you ever wondered how ideas turn into successful businesses? Do you want to become an entrepreneur but don't know where to get started? Join me, Arthur, this Friday from 1 to 3 p.m. on Virgin Radio Lebanon. Join me, Arthur, this Friday from 3 to 5 p.m. on Virgin Radio Stars, where I'm chit-chatting with Adnan from BY Venture Partners.
Hi, this is Adnan. Can't wait to see you Friday.
BY Venture Partners is one of the biggest investment companies around the world for startups, and Adnan is sharing with us all of the ways that they invest and support entrepreneurs. So make sure to tune in this week. The show is brought to you by the Talal and Madiha Zein AUB Innovation Park. Do you want money? This week on AUB's Innovation Park, I'm meeting with Adnan, who is from BY Venture Partners. And BY Venture Partners actually has invested more than $100 million in startups till date, and now they're raising another $100 million fund. Adnan, do you want to say hi to everyone?
Hi everyone, this is Adnan. Very excited to see you this Friday.
So Adnan, on behalf of all the entrepreneurs, I can say thank you for your money and thank you for investing, in all of the entrepreneurs. If you're listening and if you're watching this, you have to tune in this Friday on Virgin Radio Lebanon from 1 to 3 p.m. and Virgin Radio Stars from 3 to 5 p.m. Because fundraising is one of the fundamental things in entrepreneurship, especially if you're building a tech startups, because you need a lot of funds to be able to succeed. And BYVP, or BY Venture Partners, is one of the biggest investment companies in the world. But you know what? There are steps to being able to raise funds. There are steps to being able to becoming a successful entrepreneur. So if you want money for your startup, you have to tune in this Friday, get to meet Adnan, get to meet AUB's Innovation Park, because we're going to help you get there. More than half of our companies so far have raised funds, and those are just the companies that are currently in our batch, which is actually really cool, and we're going to help you do the same. So can't wait to see you this Friday. My name's Arthur. I'm the co-founder and the CEO of Lemonade Fashion and the entrepreneur in residence of AUB's Innovation Park.